Most definitely. What's your favorite spot to perform at?
What's
your favorite performance and favorite spot to perform at outside of your own events?
That is a good one. Let me see. I love performing at, I mean, even though you don't like Java Monkey, I changed perspectives at Java Monkey, I think. Mm-hmm. It's just like when it was, where it originated from, it's just like I would hear a lot of depression there. I would hear a lot of anger there. And I would be the one to get up and be like the funny porn. But I'd be, with the spiritual porn or something like that. And it was good for me to perform there because, like, afterwards you're like, well, man, you really changed the vibe. You really did this. And I'm like, yeah, that was my purpose. So I went there with an agenda. I went there with a purpose of like, I know how it's going to be because it's like that all the time. So I want to be the one to like open your eyes to a brand new thing. It's like, even if, the whole audience is like looking at their phone like, oh yeah, she's not depressing. She's not, about to jump off a cliff or whatever. It's like, yeah, that's a good thing. Right. So I like performing there. And let's see, I would say any place that, for me, it's more like the host is important. They make you feel welcome and everything like that. Mm-hmm. But like the environment itself, if you got free parking, I'm there. Parking is if I can find your place, there's some venues that I can't even find the front door. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like, I'm driving around, I'm looking for a safe place to park and stuff like that. If it becomes too difficult to even go into your venue, I'm like, I'm going home. It must be a reason why I can't find it. Right. So, for me, it has to do a lot with the host of the show. If you're somebody that I know, or if I know I'm going to go in and feel welcome, I like it there. And the aesthetics of it all is just like, if I can't find the front door, then, if it's in a backwoods, or if in a back alley somewhere, I'm not going to your show. I don't feel safe.
Most definitely. You feel like I gotta be on guard. I can't. Yes, I gotta keep my pocketbook close, keep my mace and taser.
I forgot to play. I was at Copper Blue on Martin Luther King with a show, and that was like an upstairs, downstairs type of building or whatever. It was right in the middle of downtown. And when our first show there was like homeless people walking up and down in front of the door, like asking people for money and this and that. And it's just like, the women audience members, they were scared to even come near the door. And it's just like, I see that there's a need, that I don't feel, like that I'm not going to, put down homeless people or nothing like that. But it's just like, if you have your building and people are like trying to take money from you when you're walking into the poetry show and stuff, I'm just like, that's not a good environment you want to be in. It's just like, you kind of want to be like, yeah, I wish I was someplace else because now I don't feel comfortable being here.
Most definitely. I definitely understand. The next thing I want to ask you is, what's your favorite food?
My favorite food has to be pasta.
Pasta?
Yes.
Any particular?
My husband used to bring home some pasta dishes with chicken in them and all types of stuff, and it's just like, for some reason, it's like pasta is like a comfort food for me. Right. It's kind of like, you want to say pizza, but pizza is sometimes too greasy. You got the cheese and everything like that. Pizza is a close second, but pasta you can make it up to be like, light, or you can make it up to be like, heavy sauce and everything. There's just a lot of variations when you can have, noodles and something else. So I like the creativity of pasta. You can put spinach in it, you can make it healthy or whatever, you can put like a whole bunch of cheese on it and make it, however you want. So it gives you a lot of options with pasta.
How many poems do you have locked in your head?
I don't have a specific number, but it's kind of like, when it comes to the point where you have to write it down or you can't sleep, mm-hmm. then that's when you know that you're not an aspiring poet anymore. You're kind of getting there. It's like, when I go into the bathroom to get ready for bed or whatever, it's just like, I brush my teeth, I do my face, I do my hair or whatever, and I have a notepad in the bathroom. Mm-hmm. It's just like before I go to bed or whatever, sometimes it's just like Alan is sitting over there, you've been in the bathroom for 45 minutes, what are you doing? But it's just like, if you have these thoughts in your brain, you can't go to sleep with those thoughts on your mind, or you won't be able to sleep. You'll have nightmares about them. Right. So it's just like, even if it's not writing the poem before you go to bed, it's like jotting down the first couple of lines, or I'm going to type it in my phone so I don't forget it or whatever. That's kind of like, I was driving on the highway and I was just like, I'm thinking about this stuff, but I can't write it down because I'm driving. So it's like, you get home and you're like, okay, these are my thoughts that I was up and down I-20 doing. So yeah, I would say there's a lot, but you definitely can't let them go away. You can't let them be like, oh, I forgot that line or I forgot that verse or whatever. Just jot it down and come back to it later.
Yeah, when you forget a verse or
I hate that.
Oh
That is
my
like,
God.
oh.
I feel sick.
And you try to bring it back. Whatever. If you can't bring it back, just revise it. It's okay.
Because you always feel like that's the greatest poem or verse in the
could've
world.
been.
Yeah.
And that's like when your computer breaks down. It's like, oh man, it's like all my poems are gone. It's like,
Oh no.
have it on the backup.
I keep my stuff in my notes because I write so much that if I lost it, it's lost.
It's gone.
Would you mind sharing how you learn how to remember poems? What's your process of learning poems in your head?
That's kind of a pressure thing too, because it's like I memorize poems for shows sometimes. It's like they know that. So some people give me like an assignment, like I want you to write about this or I want you to write about that, and I know when I get there I don't want to be like, okay, well this is on page 5 of my book and I'm gonna read it to you or whatever. So a lot of my memorizing came from I have to make sure that when I get to the event, these people are expecting me to know this. Mm-hmm. They're expecting me to perform this, not read it off the paper. So my process is you read it through 3 times to yourself and then you break it up into sections. So once you get the first section, okay, you can move on to the next section. Once you get that, you read it through and now you get the third section. It's like you have to break it up into chunks. And if you don't know that first section, don't move on. So it's like in my mind, I'm just reading it over and over and over again. And if I, get the first, second, and third section, no matter how many sections it is, I'm not moving on until I have those first top ones memorized.
When the last time you had a feeling like, damn, I wish I wrote that? When you heard a poet like, you're like, damn, I wish I came up with that concept. Well, I wish I wrote that.
I mean, I don't have that feeling often because I know that was their experience at that time. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, if they came out with that or whatever, then they must have been in a mind space or they must have been in a situation for that to happen. My poems are mine. My poems are my experience, my perspective or whatever. So I'd never, compare myself. I'm just like, okay, well, they came out with, like Teresa the Songbird came out with that I Am Black poem. She must have been in an environment or she got raised up to have all those situations come out in one poem or whatnot. If I wrote that same poem on that same thing, it would come out completely different.
This is true.
And I wanted to. I never want to, put myself against somebody else because that's their life and this is mine.
I feel it. Oh, man. What is your version of success?
My version of success is knowing that the gift that God placed in you, you're giving it back out. It's like that's so cliche nowadays, but it's so true. It's just like if I believe in myself that God gave me a gift of creativity or a gift of poetry or a gift of art, I want to present it out to the world in a way that would make him proud of me or make God proud of me, whether he, she, or whatever God is. I want to make sure that the gift that the higher power that has given me, I want to present it out and make that higher power proud of me.
What's something you would tell an up-and-coming poet to make them become better?
Stop being scared. I mean, there's some poets, like we're talking about, they don't add the business part of it because they think that it's going to fail. It's like, it's not like they don't know how to do it or they don't want, I mean, anybody can get on the internet and bring up articles on how to be a business person or how to be, a creative entrepreneur or whatever. But a lot of times, they just throw it out there because they're afraid that whatever they aspire to do is going to fail. Mm-hmm. And so definitely, I would say, if you have a vision, if you have an idea, if you don't know how to do it yourself, try to link up with somebody that has done it before, that has succeeded before, and like you said, have mentors, have people that can come into your life and be like, well, I'm not trying to take from you, no, not trying to take your resources or whatever. We just want to help this grow, and we just want to make it, all that it can be or whatnot. So, put the fear aside and you can be, farther along than you could ever imagine if you just get it out of your mind that I'm going to be so scared to not even try to do it.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I definitely agree. What do poetry mean to you?
Poetry, let me craft this correctly. Poetry means to me, like I said, a very wonderful outlet. If I can pour my emotions out into these words and you can hear them and you can heal from them or whatever you can use them for to make yourself better than I did my job.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even if it's a sad poem, even if it's a, you know, a poem of loss or whatnot, it's saying that we all have feelings. We're not robots. You know, it's saying that, you know, we're not, you know, we're not living this life alone, because everybody has these feelings, everybody has these emotions, and I can connect with you through these words. So, I mean, poetry to me is a passion of mine. It's a business of mine. It's you know, a way for me to say, hey, you know, we have this platform here. Let's use it for the most positive good that we can. And, you know, it's kind of like a hippie type of thing. Like, let's all get together and just be, you know, with this poetry, because it's just like, without that, we're holding all this stuff on the inside, walking around just angry and mad about a lot of things. Get it out. Use an outlet like this to get it out.
Imagination overload.
Right, exactly. You know, without poetry, there'll be some people that are just so angry that they'll throw the brick through the window. Just like, write it down, you know, put it in a song, put it, you know, in your art or whatever. That's what poetry's supposed to be for a lot of people.
What's the weirdest or compliment somebody gave you from your poetry? What's the weirdest thing somebody did to you make you be like, oh shit, okay?
Some of the things in the early days, it's like I thought that, you know, I had to wear the mini skirt and the tank top to, you know, get up on stage or whatever, but it's just like, oh, you're so cute or whatever. And, you know, they would compliment how I looked.
My wife hates that. My wife hates the word cute. Don't say that shit to her.
But I mean, what I'm trying to say is that they would say everything about how I looked, but then I asked them, you know, what did I say? And they didn't know what I said. So as a poet, your very first thing is like, what was my message to you? You missed the whole message because you were checking out my legs or you were checking out my dress or whatever. And that's like the biggest insult to, I think, a female poet. Is just like, you know, you didn't hear a word I said. You were just looking at my cleavage, or you were looking at, you know, how great I was looking up on stage or whatever. But, you know, you take it as a compliment a little bit. Right. Like, yeah, you wore that outfit well on stage, but it's just like, if you didn't hear a word I said, I'm like,
yeah, I like your poetry. What'd I say? Yeah, your poetry, it's good. Oh, okay, what did I say?
What's the title of my poem? I don't know. It's just like, really.
That dress and that tank top.
So sometimes
that's shallow. You sure? Did you ever write a poem about that? That's a poem.
That is we're talking a lot of poem time. I may go home and write another book after this interview.
Cool.
But yes, it's just like, you know, a lot of poets that want to just take you home say that to you, but it's like, is that really a compliment? I mean, I've really looked at my image lately. I'm not going to name his name, but, you know, he watched one of my videos and said, well, yeah, you look like a mom trying to look cool. And I said, and, you know, he laughed it off or whatever, and he was like, yeah, I'm going to edit that. I was just like, well, you know, if he's thinking that, what if other people are thinking that? Maybe I should, like, take a look at my image, you know, and see, you know, do I really look like the artist I'm trying to portray?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
You know, it was kind of like a whack comment to say, but it kind of, you know, put me on the thinking board of like, well, maybe I should, you know, have a signature style, or maybe I should do this or do that. It's just like, you know, because if you're bold enough to say it, maybe other people are thinking that.
Most definitely. But on the flip end, that's the thing I've been battling with a lot lately. Like, it's almost like, if I feel comfortable with that shit, fuck it.
Right.
I'm comfortable with this image. I don't care if you like this image.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, at the Day of the Poet, we have a whole Day of the Poet festival, and we just interviewed Mother the Creator, and she said that Georgia Me told her that you are the poem. You know, you are when you step up on stage, you know, you need to look the part of what you're saying. So it's just like, you know, I kind of take that as, you know, if you do look like a mom trying to look cool or whatever, you're up in the video trying to be a hip hop, maybe it's not that authentic if you don't really live that lifestyle. It's like somebody like me trying to be hood. It's like, I came from the neighborhood. I didn't really come from you know, I came from the suburbs. I didn't come from the real hood. So it's like, if I get up there and try to be something that I'm not, then that's not going to fly. People are going to pick that up really, really quick.
And pick it apart. Yeah, I definitely understand that. Now, let me ask, what is the greatest compliment another artist, a fellow artist, given to you?
Oh man, I mean, I've typed them out. There's some, you know, from way back in the day. Nikki had told me when she was playing violin and she was singing and stuff like that, but along with doing poetry, she's like, LadyVee, you encouraged me to take my talent out on the stage and make it what it is today.
Right.
To me, it's just like, she was kind of reserved and she didn't really want to share her art or whatever. And she like actually emailed me and she was like, because of you, I can do these things now and I feel more confident doing things now because of your, welcoming presence and all this. I'm just like, well, man, that's awesome. Ro Wright, I think he was Hero 44 back in the day in New Orleans or whatever. We did the Repio City Atlanta versus New Orleans showcase together. And he was just like, I could have chosen Queen Sheba, I could have chosen Georgia Me, I could have chosen anybody to do this with, but I chose you because you are a poet that knows your business. And it's just like, with him, he has a church in New Orleans. He has, all his TV shows and radio shows and everything like that. He's like, well, I know that your mindset is more, you have a passion for poetry and you have a passion for the accounting of your business and how people are going to perceive it. And then he's just like, the way that your mind thinks about that part of it is the reason why I drove, 4+ hours to come to Atlanta to work with you specifically. I was like, man, dust the dirt off or whatever. But it's like, when I tell Alan, people don't really say a lot of feedback to me. They'll talk bad about me behind my back and I find out about it later. But when it comes to compliments, I like write them down and keep them in my purse or whatever, because when I'm feeling down or I'm feeling like, the world is against me or whatever, I bring that out and remember why I do this.
That's dope. That's dope. I think other people should take that just in general. Yeah. I think people should. That's a good idea.
Oh, yeah.
Even good text message you receive from people, I think people should just screenshot it, put it somewhere. You feel bad, go through that and read that.
Yeah, that's what Felicity Love told me. She says she takes so many pictures. She takes pictures every time she goes somewhere with the people that she's with or whatever. Because, at the end of the day, like at her funeral or whatever, she wants to have pictures of everywhere she's gone with so many people and everything like that, because she affected so many people's lives with the love movement and all her charities and stuff like that. She's like, you can't get those moments back, so I want to make sure that people know that I enjoyed my time with those people.
Most definitely. I definitely understand that. Is it what's something I didn't ask you that you want to talk about?
Well, I mean, the main thing I wanted to really say in the interview is that Atlanta needs to get better. When it comes to the creative community and all that, I don't want to bring up, past boyfriends and all this type of thing, but it is just kind of like some people are biting so much that they miss the whole point of the fact that we're supposed to be in this together. We're supposed to be, like somebody in New Orleans should say, that Atlanta poetry community is awesome. Not LadyVee is awesome, not John Good is awesome, not, these certain people, but that Atlanta community of artists are really great, people or whatnot. It's just like people aren't really saying that they're kind of like, certain venues and certain people or whatever, but we need to be strong like that so they can complement the whole community as a whole, like we are succeeding together.
How do you think we get there?
I think
from your perspective.
I think we get to that point when we put, like I always say, we put the competition aside and we work more on the collaboration part. When it comes to your interviews, when it comes to, shows having artistic fusion, as they say, instead of, this click here and this click there. It's like when we put aside the fact that we're competing so much against each other and we're helping each other, nobody's going to fall to the wayside if you help them, then that's when we'll see the light and say, hey, we're a community instead of we're this venue or we're this event promoter. We need to put that aside and say that we're the Atlanta artistic community and we are awesome together.
I think, let me see. It was like this before I got here.
I remember when it was.
It just like, when I got here, it was just like that. You know what I mean? Like, it's been like that. Everybody have their own little separate things, and that's one of the things that, whether it's poetry or us just being black in general, we will never get to where we need to get to unless we won. That's just reality. Right. We can get the little wins, the little wins, but at the same time, the bigger win is all of us winning.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I mean, if you got to raise your eyebrow when you see a picture of Milk at Hodgepodge, like, wait a minute, he's supposed to be at Reflective Soul series. Wait, what is he doing there? It's just like, you know, when you can stop doing that, then I think they will win. It's like you see Teresa Davis go to Apache. It's like, oh, what is she doing there? It's like, because it's a show, because it's, you know, a way to perform or whatever. Not she's being disloyal to her venue or whatever. It's like, we have to get out that mindset, and then I think that's when we'll make some advancements, hopefully.
I think it also takes the poets, like, you have to do it. You have to step out your comfort zone and just go wherever you want to. Like, it's places is on my list of going when this open up. I said this year I'm going to start going to Apache, because I don't go to Apache Lake. I was going to go to Apache more before they closed down. I was going to go to just a lot of places more, right? And that's just what I got to do. And you got to, like, even though your schedule might get hectic, you gotta, like, just figure that shit out. You gotta pencil that in and say, all right, I'm gonna go to this particular time, this spot. Like, when I'm ready to go to your spot, I'm like, all right, I know this is Saturday. I'm gonna make sure I go
pack
here.
a lunch. I'm gonna drive from Loganville.
I'm gonna go here, right? And the thing is like, but it also take you people understanding, like, you need to go different places so other people know who you are.
Right.
And not just stay in Georgia also.
Yes.
You got to go to Georgia. You got to go to Augusta. You got to go to North Carolina. You got to go to Alabama. You got to go everywhere for it to grow to where it should grow.
Right. There's people that are shaming poets for, like, oh, yeah, your tour is just around Atlanta. It's just like, yeah, I know some people's tour is international. I know some people's tour is nationwide. But if my tour is the 10 venues in Atlanta, don't shame me for that.
Most
It's just like, you know, hey, I'm presenting myself, and it's a wonderful thing that I can have a tour in one city. It's like, good Lord, there's like maybe 8 to 10 different places you can go, and there's different audiences at those places. I mean, in 1 month, me and Alan had 5 shows at 5 different venues, and I'm like, wow, you know, where else you can be, you know, even if you are cliquish, you can go to a LadyVee Productions show in Conyers, in downtown Atlanta, in East Atlanta Village. It's just like, you know, even if you are sticking with one person, you can go to a show 5 times in 1 month and not be in the same place, and that's something to be proud of.
Right. You know what's funny? While I'm talking to you, I'm thinking about something else at the same time. It's a possibility that, like, me myself, I do want everybody to hear my poetry, right? But some people feel comfortable in their environment. They scared to get out of their environment, because, like, when you was talking about Java Monkey, right? You was talking about how the style they have there, right? A person have that type of style of poetry, I don't know if they will feel comfortable at another venue, because that venue is basically catered somewhat to that energy. You know what I mean? Yeah. And the thing is like, is either, like, when I'm hosting, I try to cater to everyone energy. I want everybody to come. I don't want people to come who act or think like me. Right? I want you to just be you and come to me and do what you do yourself, right?
Yes.
But some places it's like, when you get there, you feel like, oh, I can't do this poem. I need to do this particular style, because I've seen 5 poets do this particular style.
Yeah.
Or it's almost like if you at a some places where as though it's erotic, and you might want to get something out of your heart, but you done heard 5 different erotic poems, so you like, well, I guess I gotta talk about some ass and titties now. You don't even want to do that. You don't even want to do that. But you want to basically talk about the bad day you had, or you want to talk about some stuff you're going through with your family or your job or whatever the case may be. But you have been manipulated unknowingly to do what you don't want to do, and that's why some people don't go to even whatever spot.
Yes,
that's just a thought. I don't know.
I'm just, while you're saying that, you know, shout out to Yanobi G, shout out to Sky High in Augusta, shout out to the Rebel Poets, or whatever title that they're calling themselves now, because you can't take that type of poetry to a white venue. Because if you do, then they will shut your microphone off. They will tell you you're not welcome here or whatnot. It's like, you know, with that type of poetry, and they have very honest, this is what happens in the world in the South or whatever. You know, yes, they need to hear it, but a lot of Caucasian people, they don't want to hear it.
Most definitely.
So it's like when you get into a venue like that, I mean, they've gone to venues where they got their microphone cut off and they were like, you can't say that on stage. And in that type of situation, you have a choice. You have to cater to, I'm going to say my happy butterfly love poem because that's all I can say. But I tip my hat off to them even because they have the courage to take that poetry where it is accepted. And even in all black venues, there are, some faces there that don't look like ours that need to hear that, and they do hear that.
Most definitely. Most definitely. That's crazy, man. I never looked at it. What's funny? I know it's clicks, but I never thought about it that deep.
I mean,
now you're gonna have me thinking about it like way because now it might be a problem that's holding us back. Now that I'm really thinking about it.
I mean, there have been some people that say, they look at, we have so many pictures. So shout out to Raquel Stanley that takes all of a lot of our pictures or whatever when she came out and just like a million pictures. But they won't come to the event, but they'll go online and look at whoever was in the audience or whoever was at the show or whatever. Oh, why is he there? Why did he's supporting her now? And I was like, what difference does it make?
Right.
Just because I go to, Queen Sheba's show, am I a Apache person now? It's like,
right.
Why is there a label of, you go to this show so you're that type of poet or you're that type of person? It's like, I'm an artist and I should be able to go wherever I want to go and have it not be a problem with you. It's just like, you look on the picture, it's like, oh yeah, you're not supposed to be at that venue. It's like,
right. You gotta have the thought process as team poetry.
Yes.
And once you have that thought process, we'll get to where we need to get to. And if you don't have the thought process as team poetry, that's why we're not where we're supposed to be.
Right.
If one of us winning and the rest of us losing, we losing.
All of us are losing. That should be the mindset. It's just, like I said, I shout out to the Who Dat poets in New Orleans because it's like when one falls, it's like, well, yeah, we gonna be in this pit with you until we get you out.
Right.
And so that should be we're gonna send down this rope or we're gonna do what we have to do, but they're not spitting on each other. They're not like, oh yeah, I knew they were gonna fail. I knew that wasn't gonna work out or whatever.
Well, I wonder who set the standard for this. Was it like this when you got here?
When I got here, it was very cliquish.
Oh, well.
So it's just like maybe I was just looking at it, or but there's people in California. I would like interview people in different cities and states, and that would be the first thing out of their mouth about Atlanta. So it's just like if people in other cities and states can see it, then I mean.
It's a lot of talent here, bro.
Right.
It's a lot of talent. I didn't notice how much talent it was until I started getting features of it in place. And then when I come back home, I'm like, oh, I understand. It's a lot of monsters and aliens. I call them monsters. Like an alien is like, to me, like an alien, somebody like Ed Mabry, B-Rod, like Teresa, like it's a lot of people. Yeah. But when you go to other places, you be like, oh, okay. But when you come home, you really get to see, like, it's a pressure cooker here.
And because it's a melting pot of, Atlanta has so much traffic, in my opinion, because you have people from New York, you have people from Houston, Texas. Everybody is in Atlanta, so you got a city where you have like 15, 20 different styles on one stage.
Most definitely.
If you can't learn from that, then I don't know what to say about it.
Most definitely. We want to bring your husband in now, because I want to ask both of y'all a question. Come on in, bro.
Like, you going to wear your sunglasses?
That's the signature right there.
Exactly.
What's going on?
Alan,
Milk.
Quick question. First of all, I want to ask LadyVee, and I want both of y'all to answer this. All right. The question I have for you, a lot of time, like, what y'all did with this venue, first of all, we're in your venue. Give them your address and everything of the venue, so when you want to start having shows, they can come.
Yes, this is an intimate event space / Alan Poe Studios recording studio. It's 1950 Georgia Highway 85. It's right on the cusp of Jonesboro and Fayetteville. So like once you drive down the street, you'll see the Fayetteville County, but you're actually in Jonesboro. It's in the former Treasures Old and New Thrift Store, Suite 102.
How did y'all come up with that?
Let's see. I had the studio in Marietta. We had the studio in Marietta. It was kind of the energy, the vibes there wasn't 100. So what happened is like I said, it's funny, we were at this new spot, this new studio. At that time, we still had what, 3 or 4 shows around Atlanta, and I told her, I said, "Oh, I haven't been in the studio since we moved in, cause my vibe wasn't there,
Right.
you know." And then when I tried to start working there, the energy wasn't there, the flow wasn't right. So then I told her, I said, "Well, we need a bigger spot." So instantly, I think that same day, you know, I started to look at some different places. Came across this place, and the price was definitely right in our budget, because we saved money by moving from Marietta to here. So we came out, saw the spot, and with any spot, we look at the possibility of growth. You know what I mean? First and foremost, as you can see, even in this spot, there's 2 desks. You know, I work here, work there. There's different things that make her comfortable when she's in her writing zone, whatever. And same way with me when I have to craft the music or writing myself. So we had a smaller spot, and then I was just like, let's get a bigger spot where we can invite people in just off the rip. You know, we don't have to have 100 people in. We can have 20 in.
Most definitely.
You know, the sound system's already in place. You know, we have the lighting in here and everything like that. So let's make it happen. You know.
Oh, that's nice of it. You could definitely. I mean, you could turn the chairs this way and make it long. It's either way you want to do it. Yeah.
Either way.
It's dope.
Matter of fact, as of it was yesterday, there was no chairs here.
Oh, for real?
I had all of them stacked up, and then I had wires and stuff everywhere. But
So we cleaned it up for the
I mean, it's not clean, but you know what I wanted to show. Shout out to Matrop Music, because he was here yesterday. We were about to do a video for the new album. It was more like, okay, I want you to see the possibility. There's how many chairs here? 22 chairs plus a couch plus little standing area. So at any time, if any of the performers, any artists want to come in, I just want a little 15-person spot, 20-person. Can you do that? We're able to do that. And it's not just music, it's also audio, visual too, because we can project things on the wall and we can set the lighting as well. So it just, you know, my thing to her was, you know what, we do the shows on a bigger scale, you know. If any time that you want to do something where LadyVee can feature at her own spot with the artists in the room, just get up there and do it.
That's a smart fucking move.
So let's do it.
Like, to me, that's a smart move. Like, that's the future of, like,
so let's do
gotta
it.
be like Mayweather.
Yeah.
Like, book your own fights, baby.
We do that. And then the funny thing was, it's like, okay, cool. Once we start moving, there's still work that needs to be done in here. But once we start putting it together, we don't need as many seats out here at times. But then when the artists come through and they see logos on the wall and they see the T-shirts up, and they sit in the seats and they hear the music, some music that is new to them. You know, sometimes they'll walk in the door and I'm playing their music because I know they coming through and I'm vibing with them. So they get in and they already bopping their head and, you know, Al, I like how it's, then we offer them water, you know, water and refreshments, you know. So next thing you know, they take it off, they sweater, you know, they
ready to vibe.
Ready to vibe, and there's a lot of energy in here. And then one thing too, when they are here, a lot of times we go Facebook, Instagram Live. So as soon as we do that, I'm like, you know what, go get up there, I'm gonna just set the camera up. I have all your music cued already. Go ahead, do your thing. It's your show. Sometimes we cut the light off and put the strobe light on. We do that. They perform. They was like, oh, this is great. We love it. Next thing you know, we just promoted what we just did, just without any promotion, to a whole new type of crowd.
Most stuff.
So they was like, man, you can do this off the fly. Imagine if you sit here and plan it. So it's always a business move behind a lot of stuff.
Man, that's a smart way to move.
Yeah,
that's a smart way to move.
So either way, but it was to show her and to show everyone when they come here. We don't need to sell out a huge club to have a show.
No stuff.
No.
And you got your own joint. That's the thing. Like a lot of times, like that's one of the things for me. Like one of the things I've done when I came into the scene, I said, all right, what's missing, right? And I believe in my mind, one of the things that's missing is ownership.
Yeah.
This is ownership,
Right.
right?
I mean, we work with venues where we say, you know, you have to be out by 8 p.m. You have to be out by 6 p.m. You have to